Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video, and today guys we are going to be covering something really exciting because over the weekend GW announced loads of new Imperial Guard stuff, and this is but the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to be looking forward to even more stuff that's going to be revealed for the Guard over the next few weeks. But what I thought I'd start with is let's do a deep dive on the new Cadia stands box set that's going to be coming out for the Imperial Guard. So just like with other armies, GW is going to be giving the Imperial Guard a nice, big, beautiful starter box. We've seen it with the Votann, we've seen it with things like the Black Templars. It seems to be the standard affair that they do when they're re-releasing or promoting a new army. They get a nice, shiny, juicy box set. And I have to say, Cadia stands does look really, really good. Now, what I want to do first, before we even dive into what models you get into this box set, let's take a look at the front cover and the artwork for this thing because it looks really, really cool. So the first thing to take a look at is the guardsmen that we can see here on the front, and they look very, very gnarly. The people at the GW reveal said that they've really dialed up the grim darkness when it comes to the Imperial Guard artwork, and they really want to make it seem like the Cadians are absolutely grizzled veterans. So if we zoom in a little bit here, we can see that this guy on the front, his face is absolutely mashed up. He's got missing teeth, bits of his lips are missing. Some people have actually criticized the artwork and said it looks a little bit chaotic, but I think this guy really clearly represents a guardsman that has been fighting for a long time. He's got loads of scripture on his shoulder pads and armor. He's even customized his weapon with a little bit of purity, putting a purity seal on the lance gun. Maybe the Spades would have something to say about that. But yeah, overall it looks really, really cool. And you can see all of these guys, this one too, you know, got bionic eyes, absolutely grim scars cutting through the hair. Overall, I had to say that this artwork is really good, and I like the direction they're going in with it. Another small thing I would mention is it's really cool to see Imperial Guard out with a proper full-on bayonet charge in action. And it's traditional to have, you know, guardsmen marching out of landers and things like that, streaming out straight into combat. So it's cool that they're keeping that sort of nod to the other artwork they've done for the Guard. But yeah, seeing orcs getting taken down in close combat, point-blank firefights, bayonet charges, all of that just looks really, really good. So overall, I am happy with the artwork. But it's not all about style here. There's actually some hints and leaks to some other stuff that we can expect to see for the Guard. For example, you've seen that we've got the new Commissar model in the back here, but the one that everyone is talking about is the Rogel Dawn tank. Now, this is clearly, if we get a proper zoom in on this, guys, this is clearly not the Lehman Russ, okay? Clearly not the Lehman Russ. That turret design is totally different, much bigger and chunkier. And one of the big things that I want to point out is there is an obvious firing deck on the back. Now that model there, you can see where my cursor is sort of covering it there. Let's see if we can get more of a zoom in on that. It might become a little fuzzy and unclear, but bear with me. That model there, to me, looks like an officer with a sword over his shoulder. That definitely looks like... It reminds me of the old Commissar, the old metal Commissar who had the power fist on his hip and the power sword over his shoulder. Definitely reminds me of something there. We can see someone sticking out the top with some kind of pintle mount for sure. And overall, we can see it looks like a really big, chunky tank. Now, a couple of other things I would mention. I don't see any hull weapon sticking out the front. If this was a Lehman Russ, you'd see a heavy bolter or a lance cannon sticking out here. We haven't got that. Also, the track shape looks very, very different as well. And this looks really similar to the leaked pictures that we've seen earlier in the year when it was the Imperial Guard taking on Angron. And there was a little corner of a tank, and it looks just like that there. So I would say this is definitely confirming there's some sort of new Guard tank out there. Now, I will be doing a deeper dive on the Rogel Dawn itself, going through all the leaked stats and rumors and stuff that we know for it, but it's cool to see that it's definitely being displayed on the front of the box here. Now, do I think the Rogel Dawn is going to replace the Lehman Russ? Absolutely not. I'd be incredibly surprised if they did that. It doesn't really make sense. If they replace the Rogel Dawn, the Lehman Russ, I think a lot of people will just use their Lehman Russes as Rogel Dawns. So for me, I think this is a new tank that you're going to be able to get to boost your collection. A couple of other things to point out here. We've got a sergeant here with the power fist, but that guy is probably related to the command squad that we'll be looking at in a future video. But you've got a sergeant with the power fist there. You've also got these weird little servo skull things. I would suspect that these are just generic little servo skulls. If you go back and look at any Imperial Guard artwork, there's always little servo skulls and things floating around. So I don't think that hints to any kind of new unit. However, I think there is a potential new unit lurking in the background right next to the Rogaldorn, which could be this thing here. Now, I'm not sure what that could be. It doesn't look like a generic Voxcaster. To me, that could definitely be some sort of Master of Ordnance, or maybe it looks a little ecclesiastical, so maybe some sort of new priest or something. But yeah, that to me definitely smacks of new unit. It's distinct enough that it's not just a generic servo skull, and it's definitely got some sort of presence in the backfield. I would go for that's going to be a new Master of Ordnance. So yeah, overall, this box art's really cool. Are we going to get a giant Imperial Lander? Well, one can only hope, can't we? But I doubt that. I think that's just your generic Imperial Lander guard streaming out from its sort of artwork. But looking over the rest of the art, as we see, definitely the Rogaldorn is a big new hint here. And also, we've got the new Commissar, we've got the Platoon Commander style guy, and then, of course, we've got these new gnarly guardsmen as well, and potentially some sort of new Master of Ordnance. So that's what the front box art tells us. But what do we actually get in the contents of this box? So this is a picture of everything that you get in the Cadia Stands box set, and GW has confirmed that it's going to contain 20 of the new Cadian shock troops, a field ordnance battery, a sentinel, a command squad, and of course you'll get your codex and your data cards. Now, I am a big fan of this box set. It actually seems really juicy and full of models. I remember when I got the Black Templar box set, it was cool, and I got the special edition codex, and that was great. But the thing is, it came with like 10 guys and a couple of characters and a Redemptor Dreadnought, and it was like, yeah, this is cool, but it didn't feel like it was that chunky. Whereas this one, look, you're getting 25 infantry models, 2 of the new cool things, and we're also getting a new Sentinel. For me, there's nothing like just sticking a random Redemptor Dreadnought in there. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing like that in this codex. It's all new models all the way. They've not recycled anything, and that's really, really good. I really like that about this sort of codex and this starter box and all that kind of good stuff. It seems like things are being redone from the ground up, and no corners are being cut. And that to me seems like GW are going to be doing the guard right and doing us proud. And that gives me good feelings, good vibes. Now, if we take a little look at the actual contents of this box set, it will give us a clue to what kind of options we can expect to see when the full guard kits get revealed. Now, just to be clear, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on the infantry squads, the sentinels, the command squads, field orders battery. We're going to do a deep dive. Each one of those are going to get their own separate videos. So we'll be going through the new models in minute detail, looking at all of the small differences between the old kits and the current kits. So if you're looking forward to that, don't worry, it'll be coming out early this week. But just taking a look at the general contents of the box and what hints that it gives us. Firstly, it says it includes a field ordnance battery. Now, whilst there are 3 options, and again, I'll be covering these in deep detail, there are 3 options to the field ordnance battery. You get the mini Earthshaker, also known as the Bombast. You also, or Bombard, you get the knockoff Nebelwerfer, and you also get the heavy las cannon. Whilst you get 3 weapon options, you only get 2 of these in the box. So to me, that means you're either going to have to start buying multiples of these box sets, which is not a problem. I'm probably going to be doing that. Or you're going to have to get freaky with magnets, essentially. Now, one thing I could say is it looks like when you look at these things, you've got 2 unique kinds of gun shield. You've got the gun shield like this, which seems to be for the mini Basilisk and for the heavy las cannon, and then you've got the gun shield like this for the multiple rocket launcher. I would suspect that it'll be the multiple rocket launcher will probably be kind of fixed when you build it like that. It's kind of stuck like that. But I would guess it'd be relatively easy to be able to build one of these things, and you could either magnetize or maybe even be push fit, take out the bombast cannon, and then put in the heavy las cannon in there. That would be my suspicion. But overall, I think when you're buying a box of these things, you're going to get 2 in the box. You're not going to get all 3 in the box. So you are going to have to think about how you're going to get all those weapon options. Other thing to mention, I know a lot of people are curious about the base sizes for these things. Apparently, they are going to be on 100mm bases. So they are big, beefy boys. And I like that. For me, it's so cool that the Guard is finally getting some proper field artillery. It always seemed a little strange how we went from mortars, light mortars, all the way up to big Earthshaker cannons, big Gustav guns. So it's great to see that we're finally getting something in between. Do I suspect that these are going to replace the Forge World stuff? I think that would be a serious possibility. So yeah, but I would say if it's going to replace your quad launchers and your heavy mortars, I don't see that as a huge problem, because this thing, if you've got a bunch of quad launchables, this thing could easily be a quad launcher, or what I should say is a quad launcher could easily be this. They both shoot out loads and loads and loads of shots. And if you've got a heavy mortar, well, this thing clearly looks like a heavy mortar to me, doesn't it? So I think either way, if you've got those old models, I think that they will have a place with the new rules. I don't think anyone will have an issue using the old models with the new rules. But that's just a guess. I have no inside track, but I would suspect that the Forge World things are going to go the way of the Dodo. Now, if we take a deeper dive look at the infantry squads, again, it's going to give us a hint for what kind of things we can expect to see in there. So clearly there's 10 men in each squad, and each one of these Cadian squads appears to have 2 special weapons. Now, in the stream, they did say, this is the reveal stream, I should confirm, they did say that you can build these Cadians as either regular infantry squads and just use them as infantry squads, in which case you get the classic 1 special weapon, 1 heavy weapon loadout, or you can build them with 2 special weapons. Well, they actually had multiple special weapons to represent the fact that Cadians like to be on the move, they're shock troops. I think the fact that we can see they've only got 2 in each one of these squads, to me hints that if you take them as datasheet Cadian shock troops, you're going to be looking at no heavy weapon, but you will be taking 2 special weapons instead. Comparing and contrasting that to the new traitor guardsmen who can take 3 special weapons in a squad but can't double up on any of those special weapons, it's kind of interesting. It's strange to me that the traitor guardsmen can field more special weapons than a fully organized military, but whatever. However, do we think that we're going to be able to double up on special weapons maybe to balance that out? Honestly, I don't know. But right now, looking at these squads, we can see they've got 1 plasma, 1 grenade, 1 melter, 1 flamer. Now, have they done that just because they want to show off all the different special weapons you can get? Maybe. Or have they done that to say, look, you can take 2 special weapons in these squads, but you ain't going to be able to take 2 plasma, 2 melter, 2 grenade. You've got to one-on-one it. Hopefully they don't do that. That would be really disappointing. I want to be able to double up. I don't like this idea of, oh, I've got 1 guy with a plasma, 1 guy with a melter. No, that just makes the squad overall just less efficient. Let me double up on my plasma. Let me double up my melter. But we don't know anything about that yet. But just, if we're looking at like the traitor guardsmen and stuff, there is a little bit of a hint there to they might limit us to just 1 of each special weapon, but you can take more than 1 special weapon in a squad. Now, taking a close look and a deep dive, if we look at this model here, and I'm going to zoom in a bit more and sort of reorientate the camera. If we look here, we clearly have a sergeant, and this sergeant clearly is not wielding a las pistol. Guys, I don't want to get overexcited here, but I think sergeants with rifles are coming back. Now, this is interesting. This confirms one of the rumors that was given to me, prior to this release, which said that the Cadians would be able to take a sergeant with a rifle, but it wasn't a las gun. It was a special kind of auto gun. Now, that definitely looks like the case here. This looks like an auto gun. It's got a drum mag, and so I suspect that you won't be able to get all your sergeants with las guns, which would be just so annoying. But I think if you take the Cadian datasheet, you will be able to get a sergeant with some sort of special auto gun. Look, it's cool, all right? I like it. It's definitely some kind of bullet-fed weapon. I really hope they just let us take sergeants las guns, though. Please, GW, stop dicking around. Sergeants las guns. Everyone wants it. It's super easy. It's not overpowered. Just do it. But yeah, overall, it is a positive that we can take sergeants with rifles. Other things to mention is just sort of cool little details here. You can see that this guy back here has got a white shield strip down his helmet. Do I think that means we're going to get white shields within Cadian squads? Probably not. What I think that probably means is that's just a little bit of narrative, a little bit of a cool, fluffy model they've thrown in there to go, look, this is a squad of regular Cadian guardsmen. They've obviously lost a dude at some point, and so one of the white shields, one of the conscripts, has been brought up into the squad. That to me is just a really cool little nod. I also like the Vietnam style sort of helmet covers. They've gone for a couple of the models, so you can see one here, and there's one on the other squad as well. If we just have a little mosey on down there. Look, you can see one on the melter gunner guy there as well. So yeah, overall, these guys just look really, really good. Again, we'll be doing a deep dive on these, but we're sort of looking at what does this hint to? What kind of things can we likely expect to see in our sort of guardsman squads when they finally drop? So yeah, cool. Obviously, down here in this squad, you've got a chainsword, pointy finger, probably las pistol kind of sergeant. You've got a Voxcaster, which is great because we didn't see a Voxcaster in the squad up here. And then you've got your melter gun and your flamer. Now, what stands out to me here in terms of weapon options, and again, don't worry, we're going to break down all the different details in the models in a future video. Just looking at the weapon options here, what's missing to me, I see no sniper rifle. I see no sniper rifle in these kits. Now, maybe it is just the fact that, you know, the GW was only wanted to show 4 special weapons to represent that you get 2 in each squad, and they were like, well, we're not that bothered about the sniper rifle. Maybe. But to me, I would suspect that this Cadian squad will not come with a sniper rifle. Okay, I would suspect that's going to be the case because they said that the Cadian shock troops are fast-moving, hard-hitting shock infantry. They don't like to stand still. They don't get heavy weapons. If they don't get heavy weapons, maybe that was just a hint to heavy weapon teams, or maybe that was a hint to the fact that the sniper has the heavy profile, and you're not going to get a sniper rifle in this squad. That would be kind of interesting. That would, to me, indicate that they're not going to get rid of the old Cadian squad with the old upgrades through, because that has a sniper rifle in it. And bear in mind, I know a lot of people saying this is going to replace the old infantry squad. I'm not 100% convinced it will. That old upgrades through it came out in 9th edition, guys. It only came out in the last couple of years. It's very unusual for GW to release something like that for only a year or 2, and then to get rid of it. You got to think of the costs involved in making a new mold and all that kind of stuff, reboxing all the old guardsmen and all that kind of stuff. It just, to me, it would be a strange move by them. And I think what we're going to see here is that you can take these guys, these infantry here, really represent Cadians, and then the old infantry box set can be used to represent just regular infantry, regular guardsmen. Speaking of Cadians and regular guardsmen, they did confirm in the stream that you can run these infantry, if you want to, as Codex, datasheet Cadians, or you can run them as a regular infantry squad. Now, they didn't mention anything about conscripts, but they did mention that these guys will have their own datasheet and that you can use them to represent regular infantry or to represent specifically proper badass Cadian shock troops. Now, moving on to the other units, we've got the Sentinel down here. Now, they've shown off the armored Sentinel version here, although we do know that the Sentinel now comes with 2 varieties. You can build it as the Scout Sentinel, as the Armored Sentinel. I did a poll on this, and a lot of people said they preferred the look of the armored one, but I personally actually preferred the look of the Scout one. We'll be taking a look at the Scout Sentinel model and the various options you've got for it in the Sentinel deep dive video later this week, but one thing I can confirm is that they said that the Sentinel Chainsword is going to be making a comeback, and it's going to be good at cleaving through light infantry. And during the live stream that I did covering that, it was confirmed by someone, by one of my Inquisition sources, that that this option here isn't just going to be aesthetic. So on the current Sentinel, you can put a searchlight on it, and you can put smoke launchers on it, and it gets both options. But apparently, the Sentinel is going to change to where you have to pick between the searchlight, which removes light cover, the smoke launcher, which gives it the ability to have the smoke screen keyword, and the Sentinel Chainsword. So no longer will they be Sentinel get everything. You're going to have to pick what it gets, but those options are going to actually have big impacts on the game. So swings and roundabouts, one hand giveth, one hand taketh away. Bit of a shame that we're going to lose the ability to get smoke launchers on like all the Sentinels and searchlights and Sentinel Chainswords. But on the other hand, the Sentinel Chainsword doesn't do anything right now. The searchlight doesn't do anything right now, and the smoke launchers they're pretty good, to be fair. So it'd be interesting to see how those options pan out on the tabletop. Clearly, you can see that you can still get your Hunter killer missile, and we've also seen that you can get a plasma cannon with it. Again, we'll be going on a deep dive on the Sentinel, but what I would say is it looks like all of the current weapon options for the Sentinel have now been revealed, and it looks like we're going to be keeping all. And it looks like we're going to be keeping all of the old options, but we haven't seen anything new. But I can confirm that between the pictures that GW revealed and the leaked pictures and whatnot, that we have seen plasma cannon, missile launcher, las cannon, autocannon, and multi-laser now. It would be cool if we got some kind of new Sentinel weapon, but we haven't seen that yet, and I suspect that we're not going to see it. And moving on to the command squad, we can see here that we've got a really cool new command squad here, and there's some interesting little notes to point out here. Firstly, you can see they've got different shoulder pads on their left shoulder. All of the command squad guys have got different left shoulder pads here. If you look at the regular Cadians, they've all got the standard green ones left and right. These ones seem to have little shoulder pad coverings on their left shoulder pads. Also, it was confirmed that these guys are going to operate as a unit, which is really good. No longer will you have the officer and the command squad separately. That feeds into the rumor that I put out there about how the command squad and the commanders are going to be all together, and they're all going to get the character keyword, and it's going to be great. So, sort of looking at new details here, we've got a medic model, and we've got a banner guy here. We've got a Voxcaster. Now, this obviously looks like a very different Voxcaster. If you look at this Voxcaster up here, standard Voxcaster, a little slightly different new ring loop there. But here, this looks like some sort of big mega Vox. I would suspect that we're going to get the old Master Vox rules back. If that is just a standard Voxcaster, I'd be kind of disappointed. But I suspect that we're going to be getting a Master Vox kind of rule here. We've also got, as going on to the banner, this is a very different kind of banner. It's sort of more reminiscent of the classic one that you used to get back in the old 2003 release, with the guy having it over his shoulder, sort of moving forward. I really like it. One thing I did notice, no braid. No braid hanging down. If you go and look at all of the flags that you get for the guard at the moment, they've got some sort of braid hanging down, but there's no braid on this one. Just a small detail, but something to notice. And then we've also got the medic here. Now, a couple of things to notice. Firstly, you can see that the medic is one of the only models we've seen so far which has the classic rangefinder red dot thingy on the side of the helmet. If you look at all the other helmets, we don't actually have those. And we've also not seen any Vox grills either. If you look at the new Voxcasters, looks like they've got rid of the Vox grill helmet and it's going to be a handset now, similar to the Scion one, the current Scion kit. Another thing to notice is that, and I don't know if that means it's going to have some sort of special targeting rules. I don't know, like, oh, I know how to pinpoint the weaknesses of the enemy because I know about biology. I don't know, maybe that seems a bit far-fetched. It's probably just a little helmet design. Maybe it's a miniature X-ray machine. That seems a little dangerous, but that wouldn't be against the that wouldn't be out of character with the Imperium. The other thing is we've got, if you look at this, this is a very different design of lasgun. This is a very different design of lasgun. This looks more like a Krieg lasgun than one of the new Guardsman lasguns. If you look at the new Guardsman lasguns here, they seem a little bit more sort of M14 style. This one seems more reminiscent of a Krieg lasgun. I could be wrong there. Could be wrong, but to me, that looks like a different kind of lasgun pattern. Maybe it's just a little bit of a design choice. I don't know. But it might hint to a different kind of weapon. Like maybe if you take a medic, you get some sort of different lasgun with that. Maybe some sort of carbine or hotshot weapon with it. Other thing to mention in terms of weapons, if you look here, this guy seems to have the old style lasgun. You can see it's got the pistol grip there, whereas the new lasguns seem to have a rifle grip. And then looking over here, either this means you've got sort of two officer style models. Now you've got this guy here with the sergeant stripes and the power fist and the bolt pistol, and then you've got the officer here who's got the sort of Panzer Grenadier metal thing at the front, and then he's obviously got the fancy cuffs, big power saber, and some sort of pistol on his hip. Now I suspect, and when we were talking about this in the stream, it was sort of confirmed that this guy might actually be a kind of bodyguard unit for the command. So what you've got to remember is this is one full unit. So either this is going to be, oh, GW just showing off, oh, there's two kinds of officer you can build. Here's a platoon commander, here's a company commander. Or it was semi-confirmed in my stream when we were doing a follow-up chat that this isn't a separate officer model. This is a sort of sergeant-at-arms bodyguard style model for the command squad. Now, that's really interesting because if you look at this command squad, what's it missing? Special weapons. There's no special weapon gunner in here. So it would be interesting to see if the command squad has got a kind of fixed configuration like this, or if they're going to allow you to take, special weapons and heavy weapons. If they allow us to take a command squad which can't be targeted and it's got special weapons and heavy weapons, that's going to be really, really spicy. I suspect they won't let us do that. I suspect you'll be able to take a medic, a Master Vox, a banner, and if you want to, some kind of sergeant at arms, some kind of bodyguard guy. Maybe you can give him a special weapon. Maybe he can only take combat weapons. He has got a medal on his chest, looks like the Medallion Crimson. What I like about this potentially is it makes some sort of combat guard command squad. Because if you've got a guy with a power sword and a guy with a power fist, that might actually make some decent combat punch. You're not going to be taking down a bad one with it, but, you might be able to beat the crap out of a couple of straggling space marines or, half a squad of orcs, something like that. So we've taken a look at the front cover art, we've taken a look at the contents of the box, but let's take a look at the back of the box. Now, this was hinted at by GW when they did their release video. You can actually go and watch it on the Warhammer community site right now, and I'll put a link down to the box set and all the new reveals down in there as well, so don't worry, you can see where I found all this information. But one big thing, now obviously you can see there's the old artwork there, very cool, Sentinel, Guardsman squads, yes, very nice, all things that we've just been talking about. But, you know, Bombard, very good. But the big thing for me is look over here. That is the new Codex and new data cards, boys. That is the new Codex and new data cards. Now, it might be kind of hard to work out, look at it, but if you look at that there, that to me looks like someone on top of a horse. We've got Napoleon style artwork, guys. And again, in my stream, one of my Inquisition contacts confirmed that it is a new kind of Lord Solar Macarius Saint Solar Macarius, and that he is riding a big ass horse and he is fighting demons, and that is the special edition version of the Codex. Very, very bad ass. I mean, it looks so reminiscent of Napoleon. Very, very cool. Obviously, kind of difficult to make out the data cards and stuff here. But what I would say is, in terms of like a special edition Codex, going back to the Codex. Codex is the exciting bit. Let's focus on the Codex. Going back to the Codex for a second here, guys. To me, it does not look like what they've done with some special edition codexes. You know where like the Votan one, it's like, oh, your special edition codex is the same codex with a bit of yellow text on it and a ribbon. No, this looks like it is going to be full-blown special edition artwork, similar to what they did with the Black Templars when they did that old school cool artwork for the special edition codex. Yeah, man, that just looks really, really cool. I am definitely going to be getting my hands on the special edition codex. I think it's just going to look epic. I mean, pulling that codex out and slapping it on the table definitely is going to draw some attention in the right way. So yeah, really, really cool. And well done to my stream who actually pointed that out to me. Well done to everyone that joined the stream. It was a really, really good stream. If you've not seen it, I'll have a link to it at the end of this video. It's 3 hours long. We go through all of the deep dive stuff. So if you want to see the deep dive stuff already, that you don't want to wait around for me to release it bit by bit in sort of bite-sized chunks throughout the week, you can go and check that stream out now, and it has all of the information you could possibly want in it. We're going to go through all the deep dive, all the models and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, that will be linked at the end of the video. But yeah, thank you to the people in my stream that pointed that out. Absolutely epic Codex artwork and cool datasheet cards. To me, it's hard to make out, but that datasheet card kind of just looks like the guy on the front cover. You know, the grizzled, gnarly guy missing the tooth. I think that's the data cards there. And then obviously you've got your transfer sheet as well. And that pretty much covers everything for the video. That kind of covers all the stuff that we are expected to see in the Cadia Stands box set. But that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a like. And if you want to make sure you don't miss the other deep dives that I'm going to be doing, subscribe to the channel to never miss an episode. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And if you've really enjoyed today's episode and you want to support me even further, then please consider becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter. It makes a huge difference. And I'm able to go full time now, thanks to the generous support of the channel members and the Patreons. And I just want to take a moment now to say a big thank you and a shout out to all the latest channel members and Patreon supporters. We had a whole boatload of you guys join during the live stream. It was absolutely incredible. So a massive thank you to Krug Dog, Zeal, David Hamlet, Dog Dragon, The Traitor Guardsman, Aomir, Bryn, John Hilton, Josh Y, Wyclitch Games, Funny Soup, Devin Johnson, Robert Miles, Alex Holt, Code to 72, Far Beyond the Stars, Werewolf, Sinclair Haddo, David Lynn, Ali803, Sylvester of Terror, Dirty Mike, Roland Vanderbog, Jaden Rugg, Skylar Nagal, Nico Atherius, John Sinclair, Kevin Farrell, Mr. Bullshark, Warmaster Will, Riddy T. Mead, Aaron Ling, Star Union, S. Knight, Christopher Withy, and Travis Young. Thank you guys for joining the channel. Thank you guys for doing your part. I also want to say a big thank you to Tech Guy 122, Hound the Red, Bradley J, and Christopher Scott for becoming patrons. I really appreciate your ongoing support, guys. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to say a huge thank you to all of my top tier Patreon supporters. These are the War Masters, the mega bosses. So a massive thank you and an 07 down in the comment section for Navy Veteran, Philip French, Ross Miller, Tekwal, Alex Dengal, John Stubbs, Nicholas Walsh, Swordfish Trombone, Diesel Fox, Tom Sutton, and of course, August Varney. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your ongoing support. It really makes a huge difference. I hope you've all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.